Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just going to talk about improving your memory. We're going to unlock an ancient technique that can completely change how you learn and remember stuff, turning your mind into a seriously powerful tool. We've all been there, right? You cram for a huge exam, you feel okay about it, and then a week later, poof, it's all gone. If you've ever felt like you're trying to drink from a fire hose when you study, you are definitely not alone. It's just a sign that the old ways of studying don't really work with how our brains are wired. And you know what? There's actually a scientific reason for that. It's called the forgetting curve. It's a principle that shows just how incredibly fast we lose information if we don't actively do something to hold on to it. So that feeling of knowledge just slipping through your fingers, yeah, that's a real, predictable thing. So this really breaks down into two totally different ways of learning. Most of us get stuck in surface learning. Memorizing, repeating, and then forgetting. But the real goal, the thing we're really after, is deep learning. That's where knowledge actually sticks and becomes a part of you. And today, we're going to build that bridge straight to deep learning. Okay, so what's the fix? Well, it's not some brand new app or a fancy gadget. It's actually an ancient technique that's been proven for centuries. It's called the Method of Loci, but you probably know it as the memory palace. So what it does is it taps into your brain's amazing natural talent for spatial memory. Seriously, think about it. You can walk through your house in the middle of the night, pitch black, and not walk into a wall. That's your brain's incredible spatial map at work, and that's exactly what we're about to use. This quote pretty much nails it. Think of it like this. You're walking along a path you know really well, and you're dropping little bits of information at specific spots. To remember everything, all you have to do is walk that path again in your mind and pick up your mental breadcrumbs. And the reason this is so ridiculously effective is actually pretty simple. Our brains are visual machines. We're wired for images, not for boring lists of words. So when you link some abstract idea to a picture in a place you know, bam, you're lighting up way more of your brain, making the memory so much stronger. All right, so how do you actually build one of these things? A mental fortress. Sounds complicated, but I promise it's way more straightforward than you might think. Anybody can do this. Okay, it basically boils down to 5 steps. Step 1, get your info organized. Break it down. Step 2, pick a place you know like the back of your hand. Your house is perfect. 3, map out a specific path you'll always take through it. 4, and this is the fun part, you start placing these crazy memorable images at each spot. And 5, you just take a mental stroll along that path every now and then to keep it fresh. Now, this is the absolute key, the secret sauce right here. Your mental images have to be vivid, quirky, unusual. The more absurd, the better. Don't just picture a book on your coffee table. Picture that book growing legs and doing a salsa dance on the table. That's what sticks. Okay, this is a brilliant example. Imagine you're studying anatomy. You walk into your living room and instead of your couch, there's a giant beating heart. You can hear it thumping. Boom, 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 echoing through the whole house. Tell me you're ever going to forget that. And this works for anything. Just look at these ideas. An anatomy house? Genius. A pharmacy for pharmacology? Perfect. You could even build a whole theme park for something like biochemistry. I mean, the Krebs cycle coaster? Anyone? Your imagination is literally the only limit here. Now, the Memory Palace on its own is already a game changer, but if you really want to supercharge it, you can combine it with a couple of other proven learning hacks. First up is something called spaced repetition. Remember that forgetting curve we talked about at the beginning? This technique is designed to fight it head on. You basically review stuff at specific, increasing intervals right before you're about to forget it. It's like a strategic intervention for your memory. And a really simple way to do this is the 2-3-5-7 method. This isn't about restudying for hours. No way. It's just taking a quick mental walk through your palace. 2 days after you first learn it, then 3 days later, then 5, then 7. These little check-ins are what move that knowledge into the permanent section of your brain. Okay, but what if you have a bunch of things to remember at just one spot? Like, say, your front door. Well, that's where we can add another cool trick, the peg system. It's like installing little mental hooks to hang more information on. A super easy one is the number rhyme system. You just memorize a short list. 1 is a bun, 2 is a shoe, 3 is a bee. You get it. So, back to that giant heart couch. If you have 3 facts to remember about it, you'd imagine the first fact smeared on a hot dog bun, the second one stuffed inside an old shoe, and the third getting stung by a cartoon bee, all happening on the heart. It just adds another layer of crazy memorable structure. So you see how this all clicks together, right? The palace is your big blueprint. The pegs are like your tool belt for organizing the small details inside each room. And spaced repetition is your schedule for visiting the construction site to make sure everything is solid. It's a complete powerhouse system. But why are we doing all this? What's the point? Because the goal here was never just about memorizing facts to pass a test. It's about reaching that next level, true deep understanding. And that's the fundamental shift we're talking about. You move away from that temporary surface-level learning and into the world of deep learning, where knowledge is permanent and useful. You stop just collecting random facts, and you start actually building knowledge, seeing how everything connects. This is where you develop the skills that actually matter in the real world. Critical thinking, seeing patterns that nobody else does, and using what you know to solve totally new problems. It's the difference between just knowing a thing and having real wisdom. So in the end, you're not just memorizing stuff. You're building a structured, interconnected, and totally reliable mental fortress for your knowledge. It's an infrastructure for your own brain. And that is the real prize. Having knowledge that actually sticks around. Knowledge you can pull out and use in your job, in your classes, in your life, whenever you need it. So I really encourage you to give this a shot. Because honestly, the most brilliant knowledge in the world is useless if you can't remember it when it counts. So start small. Pick a room. Pick just a few things to remember. And just see what happens. I think you'll be amazed. So the only question left is, what are you going to build your first palace for?